Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We are just going to give it a minute or two to let people come and get settled, so we'll be right there. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're just waiting for folks to come and join and get settled, so we're just going to give it a minute or so. Talk amongst yourselves. Just kidding, you're on mute. Okay. Welcome to today's webinar, Foundation Insights from Deal Points to Decisions. Just a quick confidentiality reminder. What we are showing here today is confidential, so we do ask that you don't share this outside of the organization. And I'm just going to start with some housekeeping bits for all of us. While you are muted, we do encourage you to enter your questions through the chat throughout today's presentation. We do have team members manning the Q&A panel, and our goal is to give you the answers to the questions that you need live. If we do need to circle back post-webinar, we will absolutely do so. We're also recording this, so you will get a link to today's discussion after the presentation, so please look for that follow-up email in the next day or so. Okay, let's get into it. Hi, everyone, officially. My name is Ashley Gibbs, and I am the Senior Director of Product Value Engineers at Latera. I have the privilege of talking to our customers and demonstrating the value of the amazing solutions we offer here at Latera, one of which being Foundation Insights, which is one of my favorite applications I've ever worked with. The reason being, I used to work at a law firm in the marketing and business development space, and the need for data and trying to get to that data was my day-to-day struggle. But more on that later. I'm going to hand it over to my co-presenter to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Alistair Pimlott. I'm a legal knowledge engineer at Latera. So we are a team of former practicing lawyers that now work, um, you know, in legal tech, trying to kind of make the lives of our colleagues still in practice easier. I'm a recovering M&A lawyer. I worked at Davis Polk in New York for a few years before joining Latera. I've been at Latera for a few years now in a couple different roles. But we are kind of a team behind the scenes making that Latera's products, making sure that Latera's products are up to the accuracy standards that lawyers need, and are kind of solving real problems that lawyers will face.
Okay, so first I want to point out this adorable animation that we're going to see throughout today's presentation. So in advance, you are welcome. But we're going to start by giving you a little bit of 101 around deal points. So I want us to pause here, and I want to really digest the stats that we see on the screen. 82% of clients say that getting a quick response is critical. Now, let's be honest, that's not that shocking. Nobody wants to wait, but think of that. Almost all of your clients want faster responses so they can continue with their goals in an efficient manner, probably getting back to their people quickly. And 85% of those clients report that a firm's response time keeps them around. It keeps them coming back for more efficient and thoughtful legal services. So your ability to respond to clients goes hand in hand with your brand and your success. So just going back to my marketing job at my firm, my daily task was to lean on lawyers to provide data that was needed for one thing or the other. I spent over 7 years trying to come up with different ways to convince lawyers to stop what they were doing, which is, hey, stop billing time, and provide me with information about a matter so that I could go and finish putting together my pitch or my league table. The marketing team, to be successful, needed to put together carefully tailored presentations to go out and win more work. So to do that, we needed thoughtful information about what took place in the matter, not just what the time and billing system could tell us. So who were the people that knew what happened in the matter? Well, those, of course, were the lawyers doing the work, and they needed to share their stories. But guess what? They didn't love being interrupted to provide information that they felt they had already provided 10 times over. Now, we would get a few kind lawyers that would take the time to provide me with what was needed, but they didn't work on all the matters at the firm. So there was a lot of data gaps, which led to inconsistent storytelling. And it made it especially difficult when we needed to speak to a quantity of matters matching similar criteria. And guys, believe me, business development teams across the globe know exactly what I'm talking about here. So that was my real life perspective as to why deal points were so important from a marketing and business development lens. I'm going to hand it over to Alistair to give his perspective.
Yeah, and from a lawyer's perspective, I think the deal points really feed into two kind of key workflows that are a huge pain point. One is finding precedent. As I'm sure most of you know, finding precedent, one, can be quite time consuming and difficult. My colleague Barry Solomon has a line that I like to reuse a lot when he talks about walking around trying to ask people if they worked on a deal like this or if they have a document that would fit these criteria. He refers to it as sneaker net. So that was kind of the best way you could find the appropriate document to get started with. So time consuming, it interrupts your work, it interrupts everyone you have to ask as well. And it can make a big difference. Obviously, the better precedent you start with, the more efficient and easier the entire drafting and deal process can be. So it can really have a lot of downstream consequences. And then the other side of it is kind of just answering those questions from marketing, maybe from a client. Have we worked on a deal like this before? What's the market standard for this? All those kinds of questions. Again, hopefully you know someone that has that information off the top of their head from their experience, but often, that can lead to running around the office trying to find someone with that expertise, or, a worst case scenario, a research project involving multiple people. So that can really kind of distract you from crucial billable work or interrupt the work you're doing on an active deal, all that kind of stuff. So it can be a huge pain if you don't have that data anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. So what is the solution? A deal point database, of course. In its most simplistic form, a deal point database is a technical solution in some format, whether that's Excel, SharePoint, something you buy, something you build, where users can store and then search the data that makes up a deal, ideally for all the deals a firm does. And over time, if firms work to capture these deal points, they will have a wealth of data at their fingertips. So having this data in one place is crucial for law firm teams to be successful. And just going back to that stat we just talked about, 82% of clients say response speed is critical for them. And it's critical for firms too, as a reminder, because it means maintaining and growing that relationship. So if you're a lawyer and you don't know the answer to a question off the top of your head, you now need to get back to that client. And when you hang up the phone, a fire drill gets kicked off. Without having a wealth of experience at your fingertips, lawyers need to rely on others to find it for them. And if this data isn't centralized within a searchable database, getting that answer can take hours and a lot of expensive resources to find it. So the ability to find precedents easily, to put your best foot forward, sets the tone for a successful transaction. And having that negotiation intelligence at the ready gives you the competitive advantage over opposing counsel and keeps your clients loyal. So that is how valuable having a deal point database is. But it's not always that easy. So Alistair, why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so obviously, that's great to have. Then the question is, how do you get that information? And, the best way is to consult the lawyers at the end of a deal and get them to input as much as you can convince them to do, into some kind of, data entry system like Foundation. And, that obviously is great after you have it, but the last thing you want to do after a deal closes, is do this kind of additional non-billable work. I mean, usually, as you probably all know, um, may not have slept very much getting across the line to closing. You probably have other deals going on. The sooner you can kind of forget this one and move on to the next thing, the better. But if you're getting those requests from Ashley, who didn't do anything wrong, but is bothering you at a time when you really don't want to be thinking about this deal anymore, it can be a huge pain to get that information out of lawyers, even if it's fresh in their heads, into something that you can use down the line.
Yeah, I was not popular at all at my firm with the lawyers, but hey. Okay, so again, you're welcome for the graphic. Now let's talk about foundation insights. So, what does insights do? Simply stated, using generative AI, Insights takes a final executed agreement and gleans hundreds of deal points within minutes, automatically creating and contributing to an aggregate database that allows end users to intuitively self-serve information with minimal, if any, training. So, to unpack that a little bit more, with each closing of a deal, an end user, whether that's the senior associate who just worked on the deal or the knowledge management professional who's the firm's knowledge gatekeeper, can upload through integration with a firm's document management system the final executed agreement of the transaction. Now, you want to stick to that final version because everything has been cemented as true and no changes will take place. So once integrated, large language models will comb through the PDF or the Word document, identify and surface hundreds of deal points within minutes. At this point, one will be met with an intuitive interface that lists out all of the deal points found. And when you click into a deal point, a pane on the right-hand side will appear, referencing the area of the document that the deal point was found, allowing the user to trust but verify that the generative AI got it right. Now, this is an optional step because as you get more familiar and confident with the large language models, you'll be able to skip verifying the information and then just start using the data. So, talking about using the data, each time that action that I just described is taken, Insights automatically contributes these deal points to an aggregate database that offers an insanely easy interface for an end user. So think of that lawyer who does not have time to learn a new tool. They can leverage filters and interactive charts to start from a holistic what's market perspective to narrow down to a more targeted representative transaction view to negotiate from a place of power or find precedents. Or going back to my example before, simply be able to answer a client's question right there on the call. So again, beating this dragon dead, circling back to that 82% of clients that tell us speed is crucial for them, insights is what gets you there. So when I think about the life cycle of a transaction, where does insights fit within that? So if we go to the next slide, I'd argue that it's part of the entire process, starting with winning the work. What I haven't mentioned yet, and Alistair kind of lightly hinted at this, and we're not going to spend time on this today, but believe me, find me, I will take you through this whole journey. But what I haven't mentioned yet is that when the deal points are gleaned from insights, Insights connects with Foundation Experience Management, and those deal points can be pushed across into Foundation, bringing to life a matters profile, enabling business development teams to leverage that granular data to identify the right set of matters to include in a pitch. And if you remember, I talked about this in the beginning. Having that data is crucial for winning the work, but bogging down lawyers to get it is counterproductive. So being able to use GenAI to find this data would have gotten me information faster and in a more comprehensive way back in my younger year. But anyway, once the matter is won, that's when the work starts to get done. And insights is leveraged throughout alongside the other Latera tools we see here, from being able to locate precedents to bring it to our drafting suite to be able to go through the drafting process, to being able to negotiate what's best for the client throughout the transaction. And then once done, extracting all those deal points to bring it back into the aggregate database and Foundation, starting that cycle of winning the work all over again. Okay, so we've talked about how necessary insights is, how it works, and where it fits into the life cycle of a deal, but we're actually here today to shed some light on some of our updated offerings within the application. And quite honestly, these updates came from you guys, our customers, and our market. So here at Latera, we love product feedback, and we approach our development in a very collaborative way. So when we launched Insights well over a year and a half ago, people loved it and they understood what a silver bullet the solution is for their data strategy. And then they immediately started offering up ideas on how Insights could even better be used for their use cases. So 300 deal points is what we can extract from the final executed agreement of a private M&A transaction. 300 deal points. People were blown away, and then they were like, but that's a lot. We never felt that we were going to get to be looking at that much data. Is there any way that we can hide some of this information and kind of tailor it to what it is that we want to see? Okay, sure. Another part of this was, oh my goodness, being able to go through and verify this information in such an intuitive way is great. But I'm actually sharing this workload with one of my colleagues. Is there any way that we can go in and see what's been verified and what hasn't been verified to improve our workflow? Sure, absolutely. Do you handle ancillary documents? And the biggest thing, I've done many, many demos over the past 18 months, and I can't get 5 words in without somebody saying, can we create our own deal points? So because of all of this, we have gone ahead and enhanced and made available Insight's Deal Point Designer. This is exactly what we use to build and enhance this amazing application, and we've made it available for our customer use. So now you do not have to compromise on your experience. You can either design what you need, including the order of the deal points yourself, or work with Litera to design exactly what you need to have these workflows work for you. Or you can take a hybrid approach. It's totally up to you. And Alistair is going to actually walk us through a little bit about what this enhancement brings.
All right. So yeah, one of my roles in the last year or so has been to build out deal points in the designer. So I have spent a lot of time in this thing, along with the rest of my team. And we're excited to kind of bring you the same power that we have behind the scenes so that you can create deal points that suit your workflow. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of what it can do, because I think the takeaway of this, I want everyone to remember kind of what can you do with this, and then also remember that we're here to help. So as much or as little guidance as you need, building your own deal points, our team can walk you through it. As much or as little as you need, we can also build them for you if you want to kind of come to us with a list of deal points that you want, and with documents that maybe aren't publicly available. So with the designer, you can hide any deal point. So that includes ones that you've created that maybe you're not using anymore, or ones that we've created, more importantly, as we have a ton of out-of-the-box fields, obviously, as Ashley has alluded to. So you can hide them from the dashboard, from the review page, or both. You can obviously create your own new deal points to capture almost any information in any agreement type. You can kind of mingle them with our deal points, so they're not separate. They don't live in a different space. They can kind of use the information extracted from our deal points. You can kind of make them dependent on our deal points. They work just like our out-of-the-box deal points. You can add new categories. You can kind of promote them. So if you want to emphasize certain deal points but de-emphasize others. And then you can also add completely new document types. So whether you want to build within our pre-existing set, whether you want to build your own complete new version of something, whether you want to build a new doc type that we don't have, all of that power kind of we're putting at your fingertips. And so now I'm going to switch over to the designer so I can give you a quick preview of what it looks like, which will hopefully help solidify kind of what it can do. All right, so you should be able to see my screen right now. All right, got the thumbs up. So what you're looking at right now is a field that I've created, pretty simple one called party jurisdictions. And the idea of this field is I just want to know where are all the unique locations or jurisdictions that the parties to this M&A document are located in or are incorporated in. So, maybe this is to figure out where we use certain local counsel before, or if there's certain quirks to a deal depending on where a party is located, that kind of thing. Not sure if this would actually be useful to you, but we already have quite an extensive list, so it's hard to come up with a new deal point that would really add something meaningful. So this is what I've got. It's a location field, so it's going to pull out the state or province and country code of each unique location, and then I have a little description for the users, and I'm going to elide over a little bit on actually creating this. Again, this kind of point of the session is not to bog you down in the details of how you build this, partly because we want you to take away just what you can do with it, and also partly because you don't actually need to learn that if you don't want to. Again, we can kind of take full control over that for you if that's something you're interested in. So I can build this deal point. I've added a couple of test documents that I'm going to use to kind of test it out. These can be documents that are from any source. So if you want to, tailor deal point to your documents, you can upload proprietary firm documents. You can pull from Edgar, whatever you need to do. So I'm going to pull in a few test documents here. Oh, it looks like maybe I have lost these. I did. Sorry about that. Let me go back into the designer. I think I got timed out while I was presenting here. So I'm going to expand the description so you can see it. Sorry, there we go. If we hit save and test, you're going to see that Insights is going to extract the relevant information, and it's going to give me a source box so I can go in and check that this is the correct answer. So it's highlighting where it got this information in the document. I can see that there is an entity in Delaware, another entity in California, and finally another entity in Delaware. So Delaware and California, got that answer right. I can verify this deal point. It's going to save that. So again, if you're iterating on this, you have all that information stored, so you can quickly kind of play with different deal points, see what the performance is like, and you can add as many as you need. And if I go over to this in the list, you can see I've added here to the parties category. So it's a custom field. It's got this firm created icon right here. I've marked it as beta because I've only tested it on a few documents. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe you want to do a little bit more thorough testing, just something you can do to indicate that it's maybe not fully baked yet. And then I've also made it promoted. So this is going to appear in bold in the designer list to show that maybe this is one that I definitely want someone to take a look at. So you can see that it's completely commingled here in the list of deal points that we have out of the box. And I can create as many of these as I need. I can hide any of the existing ones. I can hide them in Insights, so that's hide them in the dashboards. You have kind of complete control over this list. And then I can also create a full new document type. Again, kind of don't want to get bogged down on this call about it, just want you to take away that you can do that. So if you create a custom field, it would appear here with this little FC tag on it. So you can have kind of all the built-in ones customized to your needs and all the custom ones you need as well. And then if I go over to the actual add review deal page, you'll see that whenever I modify the deal point list and add a deal point, it's going to give me a little indication that, hey, there's new information to be extracted from all of my private M&A documents now. So if I click into one of these documents, I get this little notification, there's a new deal point available. I can quickly run the extraction, and it's going to pull out that new custom deal point that I added. You can see it appears right here in the parties category with our built-in fields. It's got the same tags to indicate that this is a custom field and that this is in beta because it hasn't been tested extensively yet. And just like any other field, I can pop open the panel on the right and verify it, and then that information can be synced elsewhere if needed. So that is kind of a very quick rundown. Again, I don't want to get bogged down in all of the details, but the idea is, you can basically get full control over the deal point list, over the dashboards, and as much or as little help as you need, we're here for that. You can jump back into the slides now.
That's awesome. The fact that you can just do it so quickly and see that result is great.
Yeah, and then just a final point, in case you need more inspiration, you're not already thinking of all the ways that this can kind of enhance your workflows. You can some kind of ideas as to how this can really help bring more value out of Insights. So you can customize deal points for certain clients to align with maybe questions that they're answering or certain ways that they like to track deal points. You can kind of build it custom for them. Again, we will build the deal points for you. So if you just want to bring us a list of deal points, we can take that and run and really build these for you, so you don't have to worry about all that. Again, leveraging your expertise, like we have a pretty good team of former lawyers behind the scenes here, but we're not experts in everything. So to the extent that maybe there's certain specific expertise that you want to leverage, this is a way to do that. Customize the deal points to a specific, location or jurisdiction, so you can kind of tailor between, how deals are negotiated in different parts of the world. And then just finally kind of updating these in real time. We do a very extensive testing process when we're releasing fields. And so it can take a little bit of time to reflect maybe new trends in negotiation. And if you want to get ahead of those, you can do that. You don't need to wait for us. If there's new stuff coming up in negotiation that you want to track, this makes it very easy to kind of get that out of your documents. And finally, this is all kind of tying back as well into Latera 1. If you go to the next slide. So Latera 1, if you haven't heard of it already, is the idea that our vision, I guess, of the future of Latera's products and the future of legal work. So that information from Insights is not siloed. We're trying to bring everything across, like the power of all of Latera's products into kind of one seamless platform and deliver the data to lawyers where they need it, where they work. So those insights can be, for example, surfaced while drafting a document. So if you want to get the latest intelligence on how a certain deal point is being negotiated in the market, and for purposes of negotiation, for purposes of more efficient and more accurate drafting, you can have that right at your fingertips in Word if needed. So kind of bringing that all together so you don't need to jump between platforms, whether you're on the web, in Word or Outlook, all the relevant information you need is right there for you. So that's the end of our presentation on Deal Point Designer. Hope this has been helpful. If you want to learn more, you can scan this barcode and reach out to us. We're happy to kind of give you further demos, give you training as needed. Whatever you need, just let us know. And if you haven't had enough of us, and specifically of Ashley, we also have some other very interesting webinars. So I'll pass it over to Ashley to plug that one.
Thank you. Yes, if you want more of Ashley, but more importantly, if you want to get some best practices around change management as it relates to rolling out maybe a deal point database or really any technical solution that you're embarking on at the firm, please join me as I facilitate these three amazing professionals who have done extensive work in change management at firms, helping to bring to life successful implementations, not just from start to rollout, but beyond as well, because we all know the projects they never go away, nor they should. And as part of this, you will also have access to our amazing workbook white paper that we've created, giving you tips and tricks and actual practical applications of how to bring change management to life at your firm. So use the QR code here. Again, promise you won't hear my voice too much. You're going to hear from these three wonderful panelists. So thank you, everyone. As we said, we've been answering your questions, but we'll follow up if we haven't gotten to any, as well as sending out this recording.